Mangwanani vana vaMwari, takutendai nekuuya kwamaita ku-UZ Alumni SDA Association Fun Day in conjunction with Adventist Homeschooling Association. Ndinokutendai Madam Chair CC Zodi namainini Shero, Mwari vakuitire zvakanaka nomupa mukana uno wekuti ndiprezende tiri kuno kuBotanic Gardens maringe nezveparenting skills in light of the great controversy. So ndoda kunditsanangure kusangano raMwari, ndichikutendai nekuuya kwamaita mose muzhinji wenyu nevana. I'm very glad pane vana baba varipo. Usually maprograms ake aya anowanzoitwa nana mai, but ndikuona vana baba varipo. Aiwa, Mwari vakuitire zvakanaka. So muchaona kuti vana vaMwari, tichitanga topic yedu yeparenting skills ndoda kundiprezenta pamberi penyu. Tinonzwisa kuti from antiquity Mwari akadescribe himself as a parent. That's very wonderful, isn't it, vana vaMwari? So God's parenting style described in scripture as the model for the best parenting styles described in contemporary researches. Because long before parenting research began, there's an author very powerful, inspired by Mwari anonzi Ellen G. White, describe parenting styles achishandisa mazita akasiyana-siyana kuti atinoti pachirungu different names, but achi-identify the same parenting behaviors nemaresults acho in children's character and spirituality. So for starters, I would like you, dear friends, kuti tizoverenge machapter nemhaka yenguva yedu, da kuti tizonyora henyu pasi the following chapters dzinonotibatsira for starters on how to do parenting styles. Takanyanya kuna Genesis chapter 18 verse 19, da kuti zvakati tiverenge Psalm chapter 103, da kuti zvakati tiverenge Proverbs chapter 3 verse 11 and 12, Proverbs chapter 13 verse 1, Proverbs chapter 13 verse 24, Proverbs chapter 15 verse 1 and 5, Proverbs chapter 19 verse 18, Proverbs chapter 22 verse 6 and verse 15, Proverbs chapter 29 verse 15 and verse 17, Isaiah chapter 49 verse 13, Isaiah chapter 54 verse 13, Isaiah chapter 66 verse 12 and 13, Luke chapter 5 from verse 11 to verse 32, Ephesians chapter 6 from verse 1 to 4, Colossians chapter 3 verse 20 and verse 21, and Hebrews chapter 12 from verse 5 to 11. And also mabhuku Ellen G. White, tinogonoverenga mabhuku akati The Adventist Home, page 439, especially paragraph 4, Child Guidance chapters 41 to 49, Counsels to Parents, Teachers and Students, page 155, paragraph 2, Ellen G. White, book Education, page 283 and page 287 to page 297, The Means of Healing, page 384, paragraph 2 and page 391 to 392, Thoughts from the Mount of Blessing, page 130 to 134, Desire of Ages, chapter 56, Testimonies for the Church, volume 1, chapter 74, Testimony for the Church, volume 3, page 131 to page 135, and page 531 to page 532, and Testimonies for the Church, volume 4, page 362 to page 363. Parenting style is the bigger picture of child rearing, and usually it is described by two main aspects of the parent-child relationship, which is support and control. Support is our responsiveness to the child's needs, and control deals with how much power we wield over them. The way parents support and control their children affects the atmosphere of the home and the emotional tone of family interaction, which influences everything else that happens in the family. So supportive parents are child-centered and responsive to their child needs. They show much love, kindness, and tenderness to their children. They hug and cuddle and say I love you frequently and express love in a way that children understand. They also notice when their child has had a difficult day and needs an extra dose of love. These parents eat, play, work, and play with their children every day. In a supportive home, parents and children talk with each other a lot. Both know how the other feels and the children understand the reasons for the family standards. Parents respect and listen to their child's viewpoint and show patience with childish mistakes and inconsistencies. They are tactful, sympathetic, understanding, and merciful with their children. An atmosphere of respect for each family member pervades the home. Independence and individuality are encouraged. Supportive parents are messengers of God's love to all their children. Non-supportive parenting, the parents are generally centered on their own needs. Adult-centered parents give little consideration to the needs of their children. Daily survival or parental power is what matters. The kids are rarely allowed to express an opinion because the parents are afraid of losing control or do not make time to listen. So these parents do not show much sympathy and can be unpleasant, cold, and harsh with their children. They are not very interested or involved in their kids' lives. Put downs are common. Independence and individuality are considered as taboo. So the support dimension of the parenting style used and how the parents get along with each other create the emotional climate of the home. This can either be a general atmosphere of warmth and caring or one of coldness and hostility. The emotional climate colors everything that happens in the home, giving family life an aura of joy and happiness or repression and sadness. So this plays a significant role in whether children will accept or reject the religion and values of their parents. So control describes who is in charge of the family, the parents or the children. Control can vary from demanding, directive, high in control parenting to undemanding, low in control permissive parenting. Control also plays a role in acceptance or rejection of parental religion and values. High control parenting, in this case the demanding parents, establish limits for their children's behavior, explain the limits clearly, and answer any questions the kids may have. Then they consistently enforce these limits. They teach their kids to reason and make age-appropriate decisions, and the kids get plenty of practice making decisions. While these parents are firm and teach clear values to their family, they are reasonable and do not expect their kids to be perfect, even if they are Adventist kids. Self-control cuts both ways. Parents must also be self-controlled. Andika, ungangoti mwana saputa foji, uchiputa foji. Usaone phone 24/7, uchiswera kuti pa phone. Tinoda ma limits ndizvoka. Anzi mangi do, mangi see. Ndopfungwa iri kubuda panapa. Ndizvoka. You also need to be controlled as parents. So because if they cannot calmly deal with their situation, these the parents, they simply say, we'll deal with this later. Then they exit to pray for calmness and wisdom. So who is in charge of the family? The parents. Low control parenting. In low control parenting, dear friends, they are indulgent and demanding parents think kids do not need limits and guidance. The kids need to express themselves is a favorite mantra or line that many people do and say. Achazozviwendera 18 years kana kuti ane 12 years achiri mwana musiyere zvaanoita. Muna mwana achizviwera pasi achichema achirasa makumbo. Ellen White ndakamboverenga muchildhood anzi vana vanodaro vanzi vanenge vari possessed nemweya tsvina. So we need to rebuke such spirits. It's a form of demon possession. Andiri murikuona, generally any behavior is okay in low controlling parenting, and the limits that they do try to establish are inconsistently enforced. The household has few rules and generally does not function on a schedule. Bedtimes and meal times are whenever the children want them. The parents make only weak or unpredictable attempts to teach the kids self-control and decision-making or planning skills. So in this low controlling parent, who is in charge of the family? Obvious, the kids. And intersecting support and control dimensions, identify 4 quadrants, define my 4 parenting styles, which are 1, authoritative communicative, 2, authoritarian, 3, permissive indulgent, and 4, indifferent neglectful. Each style describe the quality and the amount of support and control in the same parent-child relationship. So as we are dwelling upon these chapters, my chapters, my verses, my books that are from the books of Ellen White, I could question my parenting styles atinoudzwa kubva mushoko raMwari. So pamaparenting styles atoda kubigina with the best. Yekutanga tatinonzi authoritative communicative parenting. So authoritative communicative parents, they seek to follow God's model for parenting: unconditional love and grace, clear guidelines for moral values and behavior, and disciplinary action when needed. So authoritative communicative parents vane warm relationship nevana vavo with their children and are considerate of and attentive to their needs. And teachers, my parents vanenge very firm, they are patient, they are loving and reasonable. They teach their children to reason and make decisions. Sezvandiri kuona ndinenge ndiri kupipa into Adventist Homeschooling Association yatinayo mazuva ari kuteera muna September, kunzi teaching children to be independent thinkers. I think ndo imwe yemaheadline yemusoro inyaya yatange tidzidza paAdventist Homeschooling Association muna September mugore rinora 2025, but tange tiriko. I think Glen City here for a venue to be announced. So my authoritative communicative parents, they teach their children to reason and make decisions. The rights of both parents and children are respected. I'm recording. So authoritative communicative parents are interested in and involved in their children's lives. They know their kids' whereabouts, activities, and associates when away from home, and they keep up with what is happening at school. Parents and children converse daily. The children know that their parents will listen, consider, and value their opinions. So children of authoritative communicative parents tend to be more securely bonded to their parents. Their moral development is strong and firm. They are confident, friendly, happy, and cooperative, and they enjoy personal self-respect and self-esteem. Usually they do well academically and are achievement-oriented and successful. Teachers and Mari, they are responsible and independent. They often show leadership skills. Usually they choose to embrace the values and the religion of the family they grew up in. So a strong, reasonable conscience enables them generally to have the strength to resist peer pressure and do what they know is right. Teachers and Mari. So their God is the perfect blend of mercy and justice, a God who continually loves them and draws them closer to himself. So there's a meta-analysis research on parenting styles which was done several decades ago. Inoshua kuti authoritative parenting style, one that combines a supportive, responsive approach with a directive, even demanding approach, is associated more frequently with healthy spiritual development than other parenting styles. This style exhibits both loving support and strong boundaries and discipline for children. So under number 2 type of parenting style, inonzi authoritarian parenting. Authoritarian parents are adult-centered, power-assertive, demanding, controlling, unresponsive, and non-communicative. They tend to rely too much on force and physical punishment. Communication between parents and children is usually one way. Parents to children instant commands that the children are expected to obey without questioning. I can testify to this because ndakakura ndina mai mama vari musavada. Mama yedu chavataura ndizvozvo, we could not ask. Waitu wakabvunza chete wairuwa nemupama, kuseri kwemupama kuti unowira kwakadaro. Ini mama wangu vairova, mhanza yangu yandaizoita takakura nemufana wangu ainzi Daniel. Mufana wangu aiti kana tinenge takurwa toita musikanzwa pepe aizobata shamu yamama. Anga bhandi mama otora mugoti obada mugoti. Mama aizopedza otora womuruwa nenhingiri nemaoko. Andimugona such parents, they were authoritarian. Vanga vasina kurizina kana kubvunza. Ngotadza taishwabhurwa kushutuka tatira musikanzwa sevana vadiki. Baba mama is an authoritarian and disciplinarian. Vairova without questioning even yangu. Vanga pachi detained for silly reasons. Those a typical type of an authoritarian one parents. So my parents, they rarely explain my reasons for their commands or allow their children to make decisions for themselves. They do not teach decision-making skills. There is very little loving support for the children. Unfortunately, the authoritarian style is quite common among conservative religious families who justify their own actions by hiding behind a misconception of God's authority. So it is easy for an Adventist family to unintentionally fall into this way of parenting. After all, is not the father the lawgiver of the family? It is quicker to command than to explain, teach, and dialogue with the kids. In a too-busy life, it is easy to become self-centered and take out one's frustrations on the family, especially on the children. Because they cannot defend themselves. So the children of authoritarian parents usually react in one of two ways. Either they rebel against the values of their parents and get out of the home as soon as possible, or they become weak-willed, indecisive individuals incapable of dealing with difficult moral decisions. They do not have a strong conscience and are apt to embrace the negative values around them, or they may try to be perfect, hoping to earn God's favor through their good works. God in their mind focuses on justice. Mercy and grace are not part of their understanding of God. Tichezerona Mwari. And number 3, pane type of parenting inonzi permissive parenting. Permissive indulgent parents have warm relationship with their children and are very interested in their activities, but they are overly responsive to their children's needs. They are their parents' friends, not their parents. And so the kids develop their own values without parental guidance. Because the kids usually can do what they want when they want, they become impulsive and egocentric or selfish. They've never learned self-control. So moral and conscious development are weak. They have difficulty facing problems and working through tough situations. They prefer to do their own thing. Their God is an accepting, loving God who looks the other way when humans misbehave. Sin is not a major problem in the universe. Those are true even nowadays. It's very unfortunate. City sports center kwa iparidzwa namadzura pamwe magroups ekuimba kana radiance kana film faith nana redeemed. Vana vakapedzera vakutamba kujaiva kujamba maspika kudai. Even after service chaicha vana vakunze anomakana vapana tuve vaita majokes vachiita macomic antics avo. It's very unfortunate. The problem is a home problem. It's not a church problem. Vana havasi kudzidziswa Bible and spirit province vana ite vasevaite zvavanoita vanozobuda church saka ngati vape zvavanoda. The problem is ngatidzidzise vana Bible nespirit prophecy. Vana vova rooted mushoko raMwari. Vana vakava rooted mushoko raMwari havazoite hatizove too permissive to them. Vanoziva kuti pane maboundaries ari pano tine mastandards se-Seventh-day Adventist Church. But alas, lo and behold, anoona zvingoitika. It's a root even zvakaita last year kuGlen City. Vana vairarana vaita zvisina maturo andimboivnya kana macamp meetings emayouth. Is very unfortunate. Ndinokutori neshamwari yangu hazi musavadha aenda macamp meeting emayouth achinonyenga vana vemasavadha vachinoita bonde. Andimboona. It's very unfortunate. Why? Because the problem is a home problem. It's not a church problem. It's manufacturing in the church. Because vana havasi kudzidziswa, we are too permissive. Andimboona. Tinovapa mafoni vachingoita zvavanoita, vachingoona mamovie pavanodira. Watisi kuvapa mastandards nekuvadzidzisa. We are too permissive and indulgent. And a last parenting style which is very harmful, inonzi indifferent neglective parenting. So indifferent neglective parents make few attempts to guide their children, and basically they ignore them. They are not committed to child rearing and have little interest in their child's needs. They may be physically abusive to their children and may not provide for their physical needs. Other parents in this category may provide well for their physical needs of their children, but are too busy or disinterested to be involved emotionally with the children or guide them. So busy families with two professional careers can easily fall into this style. Often their children are given excessive freedom and unsupervised time too soon. This is premature autonomy. So research shows that my parents who remain connected with their children through middle school especially the father-youth connection. Handikuona pana is very unfortunate. Alumni, it's a clarion call andinokupai. Pana pakazara namama, anamai. Where are you fathers? What is sa anamai? I'm very happy to know Mr. Nyamani vari pakati pedu na Mr. Matanda Euda Matanda vari pakati pedu na Euda Nyamani ndabona Euda Mutangadura Dr. Mutangadura vangu some few minutes vadzokera havo ndo andiri kuona even tana advocate vedu Euda Sena matiri pakati pedu ndo anapapa tinguri panapa vamwe anapapa vese muri kupi andi muri kuona we need to be there sana baba isi pamaprograms akaita sewaya tine upcoming homeschooling musangotumire vana ivai muripo maprograms akaita sei anobatikira vana tinotoona kuti maparents echildren of indifferent neglected parents, they are more likely to accept the negative values of society because their moral and spiritual development is weak. Andimukura vana vacho. So research says anotora mashure ndau inoshuwa kuti maparents vanoremain connected with their children through mid school, especially the father youth connection yakatokosha iyoyo sekutsanangura kwandaita. Thank you so much ana baba vari pakati pedu. Inoreduce substance abuse, risky sexual behaviors, say ungoshani, say prostitution, reduce delinquency and other problem behaviors during the adolescence of their children. So vana, they tend to be delinquent and often have deep emotional problems related to the neglect they have experienced. Their God is a distant ruler of the universe who does not really care what happens on earth. So vana mwari tauti mboti pakupedzisira tauti tione about successful parenting. So what is the secret to successful parenting? Again, if I don't hasten to say this, the secret to successful parenting is iwewe semubereki believer nekurarama zvinotaurwa nebhaibheri nemweya wechiprofita. Never doubt and express doubt pamusoro pebhaibheri nemweya wechiprofita pamberi pevana vako, even pamberi pevana wakapiwa namwari, your spiritual children, as an elder uri kuchikoro, as a departmental leader, as a board member uri kuchechi. Andimukona vana mwari, let's never cast seeds of skepticism and infidelity and doubt pamusoro pemaholy writings ari Bible nemweya wechiprofita, because Bible nemweya wechiprofita ndo zvinotiguida kuti tinova successful parents because of train the children where they should go, so that when they are old they will not depart from them, the foundation will not be shaken. Takavaruta pamuBible nemweya wechiprofita, mawritings aEllen G. White, they are very good for us in this great controversy, how to guide our children. So demonstrate the maximum amount of love with the right balance of independence and control. That's another secret to successful parenting. Authoritative communicative parenting is the model most resembling God's parenting style and is the most successful, whatever the culture. Ingave Buja culture, Zezuru culture, Indian culture, English culture, Zulu culture, Swana culture, you name it. The positive effects of authoritative directive parenting are strong for every cultural group ever studied. And then one, responsiveness or emotional closeness has cultural specific components. Children, they understand how their culture expresses closeness between parent and child. Regardless of how specific cultural groups define and express responsiveness, the fundamental premise of the authoritative model that children need to feel loved, respected, and family guided while they are maturing into adults seem to be true for all children. So the parenting style used by their parents tends to influence people throughout life. Remembering their parents as authoritative is associated with a positive adjustment even with middle-aged older adults. So parenting is learned behavior. Parenting is what? Is learned behavior. We tend to parent like we were parented. But the good news is this: with God's help, parenting style can be changed. Parenting style yakashata. The good news is that bad parenting style can be changed. What a good parenting what style inodiwa na Mwari. The good news is that with God's help, parenting style can be what? Can be changed. Many families are living proof that change is possible. Yes, ma'am. So the change is what is possible. The results of authoritative communicative parenting are so superior to any other style that is worth the effort. Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. So the future of your children and your grandchildren is at stake. Handiri vana Mwari, the future of your children and your grandchildren is at stake. So I encourage you vana Mwari, ngatisimbirire zvakanaka pahomeschooling. Yakatikoshera homeschooling. Ngatidzidzise vana vedu. Akushuwa vana Mwari, I'm very happy with this UZSD Association Fun Day yataita tive nevana vedu in conjunction with Adventist Homeschooling Association. Yakakosha iyo. Homeschooling, the aspect inonyanyonesa iri demanding kuvana vaMwari vanogona vachibvunza is the socializing aspect. Yes, maprograms aita seaya maleaders edu mainini Zodi namainini Sina netimu renyu tinokutendai nezvamaita kuti ronge ramba muchironga maprograms akadai. So that socialization aspect networking irambe iri chinai pakati pedu nechinai vana vedu vakure. But mamwe aspects, physical development, emotional development, academics, shuwa nai mainzodi mungatadza kudzidzisa na English kana history makabuda nemadhinga kuchinhingiri kuchikoro, nai pana angatadza unhingi nokurowa chikoro pakati pedu panapa. Ngatidzidzise vana vedu, even nyangu country living church, ngatitsvage zviminda, toita zviminda vana vaMwari, topota chiita senai tichidzidzisa vana vedu kuona mbudzi, huku, chikafu chinobva kupa achive Pick and Pay chikafu kana mumaoke chinorimwa, kudzidzisa vana. I'm very happy vana vechipostori vanogona kurowa mapoto, vanogona kuita mabasa akasiyana siyana. Vanhu vazhinji vedu vanotrainwa. So Adventist education vana vaMwari yakatinakira, inotraina the head, the heart and what and the hand. Ngatidzidzise vana vedu homeschooling, ngatiite even ngativewo mavegetarians zvakare, because kudya nyama vana Mwari it's insubordination. Saka vana vedu vasiri kuteerera zviri maparents, even nyange kuti akava maauthoritative communicative style parenting still very good, takasaita nemazvo vana vedu vachidya junk food, vachidya nyama, vachingodya anyhow, vasina vari intemperate, singafollow my laws of health, a new start. They focus on meat eating because not the truth. My laws of health will great controverted. Ngatiite ma-vegetarians. And kune ma-lessons akanandira kutenda Dr. Matanda vari pakati pedu vachazotidzidzisa nezve ma-natural remedies, tingati sei kupa vana vedu zvokudya zvakanaka nekuprepare chikafu in a health way. So ndoda kutendai vana vaMwari, takafollowa matips anaya kuchiona tinoendesa vana vedu kuma-peligas, tinoenda navo mazambo redenga. Mwari vachatibvunza, varipo vana vandakakupa, my good children. Kana waona mubvunzo waubvunzwa, that means mazambo redenga upinde. Toda kuti tipinde vana vedu navo kudenga, tisazoisisa nero namai vake unonzi kudenga vaende nemhaka kuti mai vakatadza vakaneglect, especially mai vakaneglect jutira vari kudzidzisa vana. Iwe people like ana Voute, ana Napoleon and many other people who have disgraced this world because my parents vakatadza, they were not there for their children, they did not train their children. So ndoda kutendai, ngatitraine vana vedu, ngativarovedzere in this great controversy, tivarovedzere, tiite maparenting skills, chive nekamwe wechiprofita, chive nekabhaibheri, tivadhirira mushoko raMwari. Ndizvo mapublic schools, they are not good. Martin Luther anobva ati concerning mapublic schools, unless the schools diligently teach the Bible, they will become gates of hell. They will become what? Gates of hell. And ngatitiite diligent teacher, chinhu zvikiriwa mumaschools zvakashata, vana vari kudzidziswa zvisina neshoko raMwari. Saka ngatiite mindful on how to teach our children, tova ma-examples to our children, toita zvose Mwari vachibatira. May God bless you vana Mwari in our quest kuti tinoenda kudenga nevana vedu. Tisasare, tisapuwe vana ava kuti vazoite sinai mhandi dzaMwari. Zviri nani kuva mungomwa pane kuraisa chinai a generation of rebels, a generation of people vanomukira hurumende yaMwari. Ndizvoka. So ndinokutendai, Mwari vakukomborerei, Mwari vakuitire zvakanaka. May God bless you. Ndatenda. Amen.